wildfire. She ran calling wildfire. She ran calling wildfire. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another Monday mini medicine card readings. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And the way this works, if you're new here, I see a couple people already on and ready. We are going to do some readings with the beautiful medicine card deck, working with the totem animals. And I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And I don't know if I said that or not. I am making this up as I go along. But welcome, and the way this works, if you would like a one card reading, the first 6 people who say yes in the comments get a one card reading. Hey Anna. So we have a couple people already. Anna and Tiffany. And I have a fan right here. I'm hoping that that's not going to interfere with the sounds. So, Gage, hey! How are you? I've been wondering where you went to. I haven't seen you for a while. And Kim, hi Kim. Do you want a reading? All you need to do is say yes in the comments. So, let's see here. And I have a cat video in the background. It's not a video of cats, it's a video for cats. So that way you can still hear the bird song and stuff, and you have something else to watch in the background. I don't know. I'm testing it out. So, so come on in, everyone. Make yourself at home. Facts only. Where are you from? I am from Renton, Washington. Hi, Lado. So, thank you everyone for showing up. If you're just coming in, we are doing medicine card readings. If you would like a one card reading, all you need to do is say yes in the comments. And my only... Oh, you have family in the Woodinville area. Very cool. Awesome. What was I gonna say? Oh, my only request is that you would please share my video. I used to do this on Facebook Live, and I kind of, the last few months or so, I stepped out of my comfort zone and started doing, it is a really beautiful area, isn't it? I stepped out of my comfort zone and started doing this on YouTube. And hi, Mommy. I hope that's how you say your name. So for those just coming in, I have 3 places left. If you want to say yes in the comments, you get a one card reading with the medicine card deck. And please subscribe and like my channel. That helps me out. That helps others find. Okay, Mommy, I got you down. All right. So, is there anything else I was going to say? I always I look forward to this, and then I get in front of the camera, it's like, well, blah, blah, blah. So, actually, I think I'm going to, oh, I've got a fan right here. It is so hot right now. Hotter than I like it. I guess it's not as hot as it is in other places, but I start to, once it gets over the, out of the 70s, I start to kind of melt. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. Enough of my blabbering on. So we have 4 people. We've got 2 spots left. Oh, you're from Ghana? Wow, very cool. Thanks for joining us. All right, so card number 1. And if you're watching this on repeat, if you didn't see the live version, all you need to do is choose a number between 1 and 6, and just pay attention to that card when it comes up. And I promise that, you know, these videos are timeless. These are like between time. And so, and the universe uses whatever is in front of you to bring you home. So I promise that, I mean, you could go back. I have over 6 years, I think now, worth of these videos. And if you ever need some guidance, if you ever have a question, all you need to do is go back, go onto my YouTube channel, just pick Monday Mini Medicine Card Reading video at random, choose a card number, and I promise you that there will be a message there for you. So if you're watching this on repeat, even if you didn't see the live feed, the universe will still steer you toward the right card, the right message, even though it may have originally been aimed at somebody else. So, all right. Okay, Mahami, you're number 4, so we're going to do number 1 first. We'll get to you shortly, if I'm not too verbose tonight. All right, card number 1 for Anna. All right, Anna. Card number 1 is, try to get it without the glare, Turtle in reverse. So when Turtle comes up reversed, it reminds me of, like, when you think about a turtle in reverse, a turtle stuck on its back, either on land, so it's kind of like rolling back and forth but can't get its feet under it, or upside down in the water and it can't quite get itself upright. So it seems like there's some place somehow that you're kind of floundering a little bit, maybe feeling out of your element, feeling like things are upside down, because turtle medicine is very much about grounding foundations, right? In fact, to a number of native tribes, North America is called Turtle Island. And that comes from, there's a story of Sky Woman that She was in her land in the sky world above the clouds, and she was looking through a hole in the clouds at Earth, and she fell. She fell through the hole and um, started falling down to the Earth, and the Earth at the time had no land. And so this flock of geese saw her falling, and they caught her, and they eased her down to the water, but they needed someplace for her to sit. And so a great turtle rose up out of the water so that she had a place to sit. She had a solid ground, solid something to sit on. And realizing that they needed to make something more permanent for her, they a number of them volunteered to try to go to the bottom of the ocean. I didn't realize I was going to tell this whole story, but there we are. A number of the animals volunteered to dive down to the bottom of the ocean to get mud from the bottom and bring it back up, so that she could have ground. So, but all these different animals tried, and none of them succeeded. They would get down so far, and they'd have to turn around and come back up because they were running out of air. And so finally, little muskrat, said, "I can do it." And everyone kind of like, "Oh yeah, right, look at that. Like, no one else has been able to do it. I doubt that, muskrat, you're going to be able to do it." So muskrat dove under, and he was gone a really long time. So long that they were starting to worry about him. And finally they saw him bob up above the surface. They saw his fur come up, and they're like, "Yay, he's back." But then they realized he wasn't moving. And as it turns out, where the other animals stopped because they were running out of air, muskrat kept moving, kept going. And so he drowned, but in his paws was a big handful of mud. And so he sacrificed himself for the sake of the others. Kept going even though he knew he wouldn't survive it. Got mud, and so they took the mud out of muskrat's paws and they spread it over the shell of turtle, creating North America. And then White Buffalo, I go into the Sky Woman, when she was looking through that hole in the clouds before, she was holding onto the branch of this tree. And this tree up there in the sky world had every plant. It was a combination of every plant that there is. And it was when the branch broke that she fell through. And so she still had this branch in her hand. And so on this mud, she took and planted every plant there is in North America. And it flowered and it bloomed, and that created the grasses and the trees and the plants of North America. So that's a long story to tell you about how turtle is seen as embodying Mother Earth herself. Turtle is stability, foundation. And besides that, turtle lives in numerous worlds. Turtle can live on the land, or turtle can live in the water. She's not limited in that way. And so it's realizing, letting go of your limitations, letting go, of trying to figure out where you belong in the world, because wherever you are is where you belong. You belong in all worlds. You belong, you can look at the water as the physical world, and air as spirit, being up above the water, whatever, however you want to interpret that. But it's kind of like how they say shamans walk with a foot in each world, right? The spirit world and the physical. And so it feels, getting back to the actual message, like maybe you've kind of lost your footing a little bit. You're feeling a little topsy-turvy. But it's like what's coming up. There was a video someplace of a turtle that had somehow flipped itself upside down in the water, and it's trying to rock and move, and it's not having any luck. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all these turtles show up, and they come up underneath her, and they push her over right side up again. And so it's like, how do I say this? You are not alone. You are always supported. And even though, like, there's always, when you are moving and growing and expanding, there are always periods of adapting to your new environment, right? Basically, you're leveling up, and it's kind of like, allow yourself the feelings of awkwardness that are natural. I've been taking this online course with Martha Beck. In fact, we just had a class today with her, and she said something that I didn't know. So, Descartes, the philosopher Descartes, everyone always quotes him as saying, "I think, therefore I am." But that's only part of his quote. The actual quote is something like, "I doubt, therefore I think. And so I think, therefore I am." But it's actually the doubt that is the core of that, knowing you exist because you doubt things, because you question things, because you don't know all the answers. So allow yourself that. It's kind of, I guess, kind of a Zen thing. It's kind of that allowing yourself to not know the answers. Allowing yourself to experience that space between thoughts, that space between answers. And when you do that, you might find that where you felt like you were on your shell, like you were upside down, you couldn't get your footing, if you let go and realize that you don't have to know exactly what's going on. You don't have to know exactly what's going to happen. Just being present right here, right now, you might suddenly find that, oh, you actually are on your feet. Right? There's a whole other long thing I could go into. I'm trying to think of how to how to briefly go into it. But along the line, she validated a lot of things for me today. If you've been with me for a while, you may have heard me talk about how there is no objective reality, right? I always use that analogy, like it's not that the world is like a Barbie dream house that exists on its own and we're just these dolls or action figures walking through it, unattached, not affecting it, not affected by it, which is the view of society, that there's an objective reality and we're just here. But this is tricky because there's these things here that I understand on like an emotional level, but not, I have trouble putting them into words. But now I'm getting myself lost in my own thoughts. But there is wisdom in not knowing. There is wisdom. That's where that sense of wonder comes, right? If you know all the answers, then there's no place for that inner child, that wonderment. Oh, what's next, right? Like Matthias de Stefano, if you know who he is, said something about he is this guy that remembers all his past lives, even past lives where he wasn't a physical being, what was like part of a constellation, stuff like so far back. And he remembers those lives, and he's been on this, like his guidance has been to travel around the planet and open these different portals, balance out, kind of like doing acupuncture on the planet kind of thing, opening portals and balancing energies. And he got to the end of this particular pilgrimage, and he realized, looking back, it was like he was constantly looking for the answers, looking for the answers. What's the answer to this? What's the answer to that? And he realized at the very end that he wasn't looking for the answers. He was looking for the next question. Because the answers are like perfection. Perfection is death. Perfection is, well, that's it. There's no point anymore because you know everything, you've done everything, you're exactly, full potential. There's no movement. It's death. And it's from the questions and the wonderment that draw us forward into our next adventure. Those, like we all have those what if questions, right? Like, what if this happens or what if that happens? Instead of weaponizing those against yourself, saying, well, what if I die? Or what if this person gets mad at me? What if blah, blah, blah? Turn those into more of a, ooh, what if I succeed? What if what I believe is actually true? What if all this stuff is real? I could go on so many different tangents, but I think I'm going to end it right there for this one, so I have time to do all the other people's cards. So I hope that makes sense. So allow yourself to feel topsy-turvy. You're in new territory. There's going to be discomfort. There's going to be an adjustment period. And try to, rather than have to like hammer down the facts and the knowledge of what you're supposed to do next, or how this new level of energy works, surrender, let go, and be present, rather than allowing that anxiety to come from the future, anxiety, worrying about what's going to happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? Turn that anxiety into excitement about, ooh, what if this happens? oh, what's going to happen? I don't even know. I have no idea. This is so new. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I know that the universe has my back. I know that I am protected, that I am home wherever I go. I am whole. I am home. I am complete. I carry my protection with me. And so, because you have that safety, that's what allows you to have the strength and the courage to let go and to see what happens, to trust the process, to know that the universe has your back and the universe supports you in everything, okay? Oh, I hope that made sense. I felt like I kind of started going in circles there for a bit. I was getting myself kind of caught up in my own knots of that's what happens when I think too much. But I hope that is helpful, Anna. And card number 2 is for Tiffany. If there's anyone that's come in late, I still have 2 spots left. If you would like a card, just all you need to do is say yes in the comments. And we will pull card number 2 for Tiffany. All right. So, Tiffany. Oh, thank you. Love and light to you. I'm sitting just far enough away from my phone that I can't quite make out the names and stuff, but love and light to you, Corey, as well. Thank you. So Tiffany, card number 2 is Eagle in reverse. I'm trying to get it so there's not that glare on there. Eagle in reverse. Eagle is basically great spirit, right? Eagle flies higher than most birds. And I say most birds because I used to volunteer at a zoo. Oh, you're so welcome, Anna. I hope that's helpful. I used to work at a zoo. I used to volunteer at the Cougar Mountain Zoo in Issaquah, Washington. And we had, I'm not even sure if they're there anymore. We used to have bar-headed geese. And these birds lived, they were migratory waterfowl, like most waterfowl. And they lived like around the Himalayas. They would literally fly up and over the Himalayas on their migrations. And no one believed that the birds could fly that high until there were some planes that tangled with them, like at 20 or 30,000 feet. So eagle flies higher than most birds. I don't know why I had to say all of that, but eagle is just the embodiment of majesticness, right? Eagle flies higher than most birds. He's kind of out of reach, right? Everyone aspires to be eagle. Everyone wishes they could fly like eagle. And because he's just up there, he doesn't even really fly, he soars, right? His wings are out there, and the winds and the thermals carry him. It's effortless for him. He might flap a little bit when they leave the branch or leave the ground or whatever, but once they get up there, it's just this this opening of their wings, surrendering, opening the heart by opening their wings and soaring. And the breath of Mother Earth lifts them into the sky. And so what this has to do with you with Eagle in Reverse is it's not that you, when cards come up reversed, a lot of times, at least in my experience, it's not so much like, oh, you're the opposite of Eagle, you're stuck on the ground, you're never gonna fly. No. This is who you are. You're just not recognizing it yet. So, what's coming to me right now is like, who you are is not dependent on the opinion of others. Who you are, don't compare yourself with others. Don't seek out validation from others. Don't, how do I put that? Because it is good to have validation, right? I'll admit that, because it helps. That's part of our navigation system is, just the science of it, right? You do something and there's a result. You do something and there's a different result. Do something else, there's a different result. It's how we learn to navigate. It's how we learn what works, right? But if we are constantly questioning every step forward and constantly seeking out validation or people's opinions, you think I should do this or that, we are undermining our own innate compass and our own innate abilities to fly, right? There's a story similar. I guess I'm telling stories tonight. So there's a story about, similar to the ugly duckling. But it was an eagle, a baby eagle that fell out of its nest and was rescued by a farmer. And so the farmer just put the eagle with the chickens. And so this eagle grew up learning how to peck at seeds and scratch the dirt and doing all these things. And he thought that's who he was. Even though he kept growing bigger and bigger, dwarfed all the other chickens and stuff. And finally one day, another eagle flew down, landed on the fence, and looked, it's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm a chicken. And he starts scratching the dirt, right? And the eagle's like, no, you're not. Have you looked at yourself? Go look at yourself in that puddle over there. And when Eagle saw himself and saw that he was actually bigger than the other chickens, that he looked more like this great bird on the fence post and not like these other birds, he realized who he really was. So it's like there's a greatness in you that is unrecognized by the world because the world does not have the eyes to see it. Does that make sense? It's like the world is full of chickens, and you've been raised among chickens. And chickens they can fly a little bit, but not, it's mostly just like little puddle jumps, right? And so you've grown up among chickens, listening to chickens, getting the worldview of chickens, when you're meant to be soaring above them all. And because, and like when the eagle realized that he was not a chicken, it wasn't that he just cool and flew off. There was still a learning curve, right? You still had to learn what it meant to be an eagle. He still needed, and if we go back to the earlier card, the turtle in reverse, that's that upside down turtle feeling. He knew he was different. He knew there was more to him than what was being told to him, but he didn't know how to actualize it. He didn't know how to embody it yet. And so, especially in times like this where there is so much conflict in the world, a lot of emphasis is on finding peace, right? But peace is not the answer. I've been saying this a lot lately. If you've been watching any of my videos, I've been saying this pretty much in every video, I think. But there's a line in the musical Rent about how the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. War is destruction. The opposite of destruction is creation. It's not peace. And so, not that peace is a bad thing or something you don't want to strive for, but peace is only the halfway point. Peace is the jumping off point. I hope I'm making sense. But, so, what I'm getting at is that a lot of your frustration with the world, or even self-judgments and such, are coming from the part of you that knows that you're an eagle. But there's the and I don't mean this derogatory, I mean this as a bird, like chicken, birds. The part of you that was raised among chickens has a hard time seeing that. Hi, Renee. I still got space left. If you want a card, just say yes in the comments. I got 2 spots left. If anyone else is coming late, all you need to do is say yes. And I've got two places left yet. And so, rather than seeking those answers that make you feel peaceful, go the next step further and choose those answers, seek those answers that make you feel joyful. Cool, got you down, Renee. Does that make sense, Tiffany? Peace, if you are seeking peace, most of the time, so I grew up in Minnesota, and there's a term, Minnesota nice, and it's a thing. And it's one of those things where on the surface, everyone is really nice to everyone, right? And it's not that people aren't nice or aren't caring, but it's this surface niceness. And then the tendency is that afterwards they talk behind people's back, they gossip. But there's this whole sense of you do things to make the peace, to keep the peace. You do the accepted things. You don't make waves. You don't rock the boat. because the whole thing, the ultimate point in that society or idea is to keep the peace, right? To be nice. But the thing about that is, if you are staying silent to keep the peace among whatever group you're in, then you are sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of some society expectation to make everyone feel good, right? But that feeling good, how many people, and it's like that same the stereotype of the people that work a 9 to 5 job, and it's like you get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to bed, you get up, you go to work. Very few people thrive in that kind of a system, right? It's like, that's why it's like everyone lives for the weekend. It's like, okay, it's the week, it's a school night, I gotta pack it in, I have to not enjoy myself. That's what the weekend's for. And it follows through into everything, like how we're supposed to, the important thing is making a living and fitting into society, and anything other than that, anything that we enjoy is a hobby. And it's meant to be done on the weekend or in your free time, which you have very little of because you have to do what you don't want to do to make money, etc., 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 right? So instead of finding that place of dullness, the place of niceness where no one is actually happy, this is about allowing, giving voice to those voices within you, giving voice to that feral, wild, primal self of you. And allowing that to be your guiding light, right? If Eagle went by the opinions of all the other birds, like, no, you can't fly that high. You're going to make us look bad. No, don't fly that high. Eagle doesn't listen to those. Eagle follows his heart, opens his heart, spreads his wings, opens his wings and opening his heart. And by doing so, the winds carry him higher than most birds. And then he becomes the envy and what others aspire to be. So by following your own voice, even though other people will let you know that they don't approve or that they hate that or they don't want you to do that, your job is to be the most authentic, pure self that you can be, to be your whole self. And allow yourself to be carried, right? We always think of the way that like traditional religions and religious thought, etc. It's like it has us being, how do I put this? We start out in sin or whatever, right? There's something basically wrong with us. And we spend our life trying to atone for that, to make up for our imperfections and live up to some standard that comes from the outside of us and not the inside. So anything from the inside is deemed evil or the voice of the devil. or whatever. I just got 4444 on my counter up there. Um, and it's this long slog up the mountain to gain something that you don't have in order to be enlightened, in order to be worthwhile. And it's actually the opposite that is true. You are born whole. You are born innocent. You are born divine. You are a drop of divine sunlight from original source. And on top of that gets piled all this gunk and flotsam and jetsam and crap, and it's your soul naturally wants to rise, but we think we have to push it. We think we have to push up, and we tighten down, right? Just like in all the, God, I'm all over the place tonight, but I'm just gonna go with it. Like in all the like sword and sorcery movies, all like Harry Potter and all the rest of them, when someone is doing magic, it's like they're like, ooh, like tightening down, and like there's this look of pain on their face, and like, ooh, like they're trying to force it. But magic is natural. And if it was real, it would just be this boom. And there would be a sense of ease. There would be a sense of rightness, of connection, of wholeness. And that's where magic comes from opening your wings and allowing the winds to carry you. It's effortless. You have a natural magic. And the world will tell you that you have to earn it, and that you can't be too magical, or, you know, and it's amazing. Like being a healer, I know a lot of healers, and it's always surprised me. Not so much anymore. I don't know if things have changed in the world or not, but I remember when I was first starting out, maybe it was just a reflection of where I was, but a lot of healers thought that it was their job to go in and to heal this person and to take out and to take on the energy that this person, or the disease, or whatever. And it was this hard thing. And it's like, that is not helpful. That is not healing to either party. Your job, and you're like, or to push peaceful or healing energy onto the person. And it's like, if you do that, that just creates another layer of energy that this person is going to have to find their way out of in order to be whole. The healer's job is to sit in their own divinity, to radiate that perfection, that healing, that light, that wholeness. And it's like how you don't jump into the water to save a drowning person. You throw something into the water and then pull them out, or you reach in from solid ground, right? And so God, I am all over the place. I apologize if you're having a hard time following me, but hopefully some of it might be that this is like, when I do these, the cards, I get messages for everyone who's watching, basically. And so it's not necessarily totally suited to just the one person, but it's going to speak to other people. So that might be why I'm kind of all over the place. There's different little things that a bunch of different people need to hear in the bigger message of this. But the soul is like a beach ball, right? If you take the beach ball underwater that beach ball tries to rise. The air in the beach ball tries to reunite with the air above the water. And the longer you try to hold it under, the harder it gets to hold down, right? That's your soul. The world is trying to hold your soul down. But your soul, when let alone, will naturally pop up to the top of the water. Your soul naturally wants to rise, like eagles, spreading his wings and rising. It's about dropping the things that no longer suit you, about dropping all of those things that keep you grounded, right? All the chicken talk. Let go of what the chickens think. Let go of what the chickens believe and say, you know, hold my beer, watch this, and go for it and prove them wrong. Because you are whole. You are divine. You are spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. Your default setting is spirit. Your essence is spirit. Your essence is beyond this world. There is nothing that is impossible for you. If you can think it, you can become it. Don't let other people talk you out of your greatness. Surrender to your greatness. It's not, the eagle doesn't flap, 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 flap to try to get up there and then stays up there by flapping, 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 flapping. They flap maybe off of the branch or off the ground or whatever. They might flap to get up there a little bit and then it's like whoosh, carry me away. And it's effortless because they're just being their whole self. They're taking up their space. They're not holding back. Wingtip to wingtip. Beak to tail. They are open. They are totally filling their space. And by doing so, the universe lifts and carries them. That was a really long explanation. I hope at least a little bit of that got through and made sense to you, Tiffany. But you're meant to fly. And when you do so, okay, so here's the last bit of information coming through for Eagle. When you give in to your greatness, and you start to fly, rather than you needing to seek out others for their opinions, etc., to make you feel right about your place in the world, all of those chickens are going to come around asking you for what you know. So and if you think about it, eagle, by flying high, right, it's like as you grow on your spiritual path, as you get higher and higher, there's less and less people to hold you back, and there's more and more people that vibe with you, right? You're flying, soaring up there, the only people that you're going to be around are other eagles, right? So allow yourself to be all that you are. Let go of others' opinions. Let go of the expectations of society. You don't fit into the world because you're meant to change it. And the world will scream at you. The world will do everything in its power to keep you small. Don't let them. Don't let the domestic ones tell you Don't let the domestic ones take your wildness. We need more wild spirits in the world. So I hope that's helpful. All right. Card number 3 for Gage. Hi, Gage. I've missed you, dude. I just realized I don't know who you are. I know you keep popping up. I'm assuming you're a dude. I think somewhere along the lines I got the idea that you're a dude, but I don't really actually know. So I apologize if that's not correct. But anyway, so card number 3 for Gage. Huh. All the cards are coming up reversed tonight, which isn't a bad thing. Oh, you're so welcome, Tiffany. I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. I hope that I want to say something else. Again, Martha Beck, in one of her books, she talks about the shackles on feeling and the shackles off feeling. If what someone tells you makes you feel like the shackles went on, feels like, oh, I got to hold back. Oh, it makes you shrink and feel less empowered, then whatever that information is or situation is fundamentally false. If you feel like the shackles came off, you feel uplifted, if you feel brighter, if you feel a little more empowered, that information or that situation is fundamentally true. That's the compass. That's how you know. All right, card number 3 for Gage is Salmon in reverse. So, again, wow, this seems to be the theme. It's kind of like this, kind of going back to the first card again, the turtle in reverse. Salmon in reverse, you know, salmon is born with this unerring compass within them to guide them back home. When they hit maturity, they just know which way is home. And so in reverse, it can be similar to that turtle. It can be this kind of floundering around, kind of feeling lost, feeling directionless, feeling like you don't know which way to go. And it might be that this is okay. What I'm getting is that this is like you're at a crossroads. And it's like, so you're like salmon, you're sitting still in the river, kind of facing, like, not facing upriver, not facing downriver. And the usual habitual society fueled expectations is to go downstream. Everyone is going downstream. Everyone is moving with the river. But there's this little call within you that's calling you to go the opposite way, calling you upriver. But because of the voices of society, the voices of friends and family and authority figures, teachers, parents, everything, it's really hard to hear that voice. But it's been getting louder and louder. And so you're at this point where you're at a decision point. Do you continue the way you have been and just go along for the ride? which there is nothing wrong with. Let me point that out right now. There's nothing that you can do that there are no wrong directions. You can't get this wrong. And if you decide, whatever you decide is exactly what you need to do at that moment. You can't, like Abraham Hicks says, you can't step off of your path. Every step along your path is on your path. So, you can choose to either go along the same way you always have, along with the crowd, along with society, or you can listen to that still small voice and turn your nose upstream toward the unknown. And it's not that this choice comes along just once. This is a constant choice, and by choosing that voice within you, choosing to head upstream, you're heading toward your origin. You're heading toward your original self, that purity and that authenticity that I mentioned earlier. That's what's calling you, right? But it's like we're not given that choice over and over and over again to confuse us, to make us wonder which way we're supposed to go. We're given that choice over and over and over to strengthen that muscle of listening to our heart. And so you're at, hi Kit Kat, you're at a point now where you can either choose to walk away from the crowd in your own direction, or you can just go with the crowd. There is no judgment either way. But it's by answering, like again, if you do that shackles on, shackles off thing, right? If you think of yourself, if there's I don't know if there's a particular circumstance or decision that you're making, but if you think about doing it like you always did, does that feel like the shackle's going on or the shackle's going off? And if you do it, if you do move in the direction that you haven't moved in before, as scary, as intimidating or overwhelming as that might be, does that feel like the shackle's going on or the shackle's going off? My guess is by moving toward your heart, it's going to feel, even though there's fear, even though there's the unknown, even though there's anxiety, underneath all of that, there's a sense of rightness. And it's by choosing that rightness in every moment that we make our way home. And once you start making that choice to move toward your higher self, to move toward your essential self, your divinity, your light, your vision will clear. It's like following your own vision. You see things that other people don't, right? And so I had a client last week that she was like, well, I keep seeing white butterflies, but everybody sees white butterflies. And I'm like, I have not seen a white butterfly in a long time. She's like, what? I'm like, whatever you're perceiving is a symbol, is a sign for you. Don't assume that everybody sees white butterflies, because if you're seeing them, you're the one perceiving it. That's the universe speaking to you. But we tend to discount and deny this guidance because, oh, that's just too normal, or that's just too convenient, or well, everybody does that. So you have vision, you have perceptions of things that not everybody has. But because of who you are, you just assume that everybody has these feelings or everyone has this vision. Um, and in a way, truthfully, everybody does. It's just that we are not taught to listen to it. We are not taught to follow it. But that's what you're being asked to do now because it's getting louder and louder. And the more you answer that and turn your nose upstream, the more that's fulfilling your destiny. That's fulfilling your purpose. And it might lead to things that you have no clue. Like you might learn new skills. You might learn new things that bring you joy. And that's the point. Joy is what we're aiming for. So trust your vision, trust what brings you joy, and follow that. Again, like I said earlier, people are going to rail against you. People are gonna tease you or make fun of you possibly. But that's the chickens making fun of the eagle. Oh, you can't fly. Who are you to think you can fly? Watch this. Whoosh. Right? So, and again, you don't fit in because you're meant to change the world. And that's not to put the whole world on your shoulders. It's just that each of us individually, as we start to answer our own heart's call and move in the direction of that joy, we influence the little bubble of reality around us, the people around us, which then it gets bigger and bigger, and they tell two people, and they tell two people, and so on and so on. And so by following your joy, moving in the direction of your fulfillment, you're actually helping other people. You're breaking the spell. You're breaking the illusion of this reality. And you're giving, whether people accept it or not, whether people like it or not, you're opening other options. You're proving that life is not what it seems to be. Because you're thriving, doing things that other people, that don't make sense to other people. What the hell's he doing? He's going backwards. He's going upstream. What the hell, right? Wait a minute, but look at that. He just jumped over that whole waterfall. How the hell did you do that? Because when you're moving in that direction toward yourself, the currents and the pathways that salmon follows in the river, that salmon sees that other fish don't, are the ebb flows, the flows under the main current that flow backwards, or the whirlpools that are under every waterfall, like hitting that whirlpool and slingshotting up over the falls. So trust your heart above all else. And now this might be a time to ask, what do I want to be when I grow up? What did you want to be when you were a kid? What did you want to do? What brings you joy? What are you enthusiastic about? And if you're not sure, try different things. Take a class, look at different, ask the universe to make it known to you, and then just pay attention. You might by chance see some YouTube video that introduces you to this whole new different thing you didn't even know existed. And that becomes the passion of your life or whatever, right? Look for the things that bring you passion, that bring you enthusiasm. In Scandinavia, the word, I don't know which language exactly, but one of the languages, the word for somersault is the same as the word for salmon, or at least the root words are the same, because they would watch the salmons swimming upstream. They were so enthusiastic that they could defy the current and they could leap, make these huge acrobatic leaps over waterfalls and stuff. And it was their enthusiasm, their joy that they noticed. And so when they saw their kids tumbling and doing somersaults in the grass, etc., they equated that enthusiasm of that fish with that enthusiasm of their children. That same wonder. This is going back to the first card, the wonder, the not having to know the questions. Hey, what if I try this? Ooh, what if I do that? What if I combine this thing and this thing? And then there's creation. You just created something that never existed before. That's what the world needs. That's what you need. And that is how, by healing yourself, you heal the world. Okay? So keep swimming. Keep on swimming, swimming, keep on swimming. All right, Mahami, I hope you are still here. I apologize for taking so long to get to you. And if anyone has come in the meantime, I have one spot left. So if you would like a one-card reading, you go ahead and say yes in the comments. All right, Mahami. You said you were from Ghana. I don't know what time it is there. I don't know what the time zones are like, but all right. So this is card number 4 for Mahami. It says she's looking for a job, so we'll see how that works in. I don't usually, when I do readings for people, I usually don't want to know exactly, unless there's something big, specific that they're asking about. I like to I'd rather know nothing because it helps me. Then I know I'm not just reading into it or trying to contrive things to fit to what they're asking about. But I also find that no matter what someone is asking about, that the cards will tell you exactly what you need to know right now, whether it has anything to do with that or not. So, all right, Mahami, card number 4. All right, Mahami, again, with the reversed cards. That's interesting. So, to me, according to, this is the 4th card in a row that's in reverse. According to the law of averages, 2 of those cards, at least 2 of those cards, should have been upright. So, that's not proof that we're going to hell, that everything is wrong, that we're screwing it all up. It's more the fact that the universe is defying its own odds to tell you how odd you are. No, don't. Well, if you're watching this, you're an odd duck like me, probably. But the reverse is kind of that whole thing of that, leaving that space open, that question of what's next. What, the reverse card, it isn't, oh, you've sinned and you're doomed. It's like, okay, this animal is calling to me from across this space. What do I need to do to become, to embrace the medicine of this particular animal? Does that make sense? And so for Mahami, card number 4, we have raccoon in reverse. And so this could concern your job. I'm not gonna make it all about the job, but of all the cards, this is like a perfect one for that subject, because raccoon, when raccoon comes up, it's usually something about service. And most of the time, when raccoon comes up in a reading for someone, and I'll just say, well, by the way, what do you do for a living? It's usually, oh, I'm a nurse, or I'm a dentist, or I work at DSHS, or raccoon is focused on service. Raccoon to me is like the Robin Hood of the animal kingdom. You know, even down to the mask. How is the noble thief, right? Because when raccoon goes foraging for food, they're very community oriented, and they don't just scrounge for food for themselves. They make sure they have enough food to bring back to the family, and then they eat with the family. They don't just necessarily eat what they find where they find it. And so they have the whole community in mind, right? And so it is a service. But the thing about raccoon, it's not this solemn, gotta make the donuts. I don't know if anyone knows that reference, but having to get up and do your job for the sake of other people. Don't worry about me, I'll be okay. Raccoon loves what he does. Raccoon could be classified as one of the tricksters. Raccoon is so clever and so rascally. Raccoon is the one that you tell him you can't do that, and he's going to be the hold my beer. So there's this sense of kind of like what I think it was Picasso said, that, you know, an artist needs to learn the rules of art so that they know how to break them. Raccoon is so intelligent. They see how things work, right? They see the patterns. They see how things work. And because they're have such a keen intelligence, they're the first ones to find the loopholes. Oh, but they don't realize that there's a little hole over here where I can reach my paw up and grab that food, whatever it is, right? They're constantly, it's like inner child gone wild. It's like, they're like, what can I do now? This is the epitome of that what if. What if I did this? What if I wonder if I could do that? They don't care about rules. They know the rules. They also know their way around the rules, which is where a lot of service-oriented jobs, like when I was married, like a lifetime or two ago, my ex, we went through a year of cancer with her, and we went to the DSHS, the whatever you call it, to see if there was any help that she could get, that we could get for, food, housing, whatever, if there was any programs we could get into or whatever. And the woman kept asking my ex, it's like, but do you live alone? And she kept saying, well, no, I live with him. Like, but do you live alone? If you lived alone, I would be able to do something about this, blah, blah, blah. It was almost like she was trying to cue us in, not that breaking the law or trying to get away with things is the highest good, but in finding the loopholes and making things work, finding ways to make things work, knowing the rules, knowing what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and being able to put things into terms, because the highest priority is not sticking to the rules of your job, doing things right. The whole point of doing a service-oriented job is serving those, getting those in need that which they need, right? And with Raccoon, like Robin Hood, Robin Hood would stand there like, stand and deliver, and he would make fun of the bishops or the princes or whoever, the sheriff, and taunt them because he loved his job. He loved doing that. It was it was his passion and joy to take money from the rich and give to the poor, to redistribute the wealth, because the important thing was to make sure people could eat and people could live. And it wasn't this like, gotta get up and make the donuts. It was this, woohoo, I'm ready to go find someone else. There's gotta be someone coming along the highway. And so it's working again from that place of passion. And like they say, like I remember back in the 80s and stuff, there was a saying of like, do what you love, the money will follow. And so this is similar. It's kind of like, find what is it you love to do? What brings you joy? If helping others brings you joy, if there are certain things that you have an expertise with, that you have, say, legal knowledge of something or how things work that most people don't, you enjoy helping people or educating people or whatever, that would be a path to pursue, right? There are so many teachers who are have raccoon medicine, because when you think about the stringent rules put on the shoulders of teachers and what they are and aren't allowed to teach, there are certain things that they teach without teaching it, if that makes sense. By being who they are, allowing their example, acting as a role model on how to approach things, how to think about things rather than what to think about things, etc., that they're able to go above and beyond what the rules say. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I hope that makes sense. But there's something, again, like with every other card tonight, there you have a calling. There's a calling in your heart, right? And it's not something that's going to feel heavy. Like, okay, I guess I can do that. We always think of our purpose as being something given to us from on high on this unreachable divinity saying, you must do this. And we think that our job is to put aside our life in favor of this thing outside of us that we must complete as a mission for this far off deity. And that is not it. Your will and the divine will are one. You were given certain talents, certain passions, certain desires from the divine, from Creator, as a way to navigate those joys, those desires, those passions. That's the route you're supposed to take. And the universe tells you exactly the opposite. But there's a calling within you. And it may take a long time to unwrap it, to unbury it, to dig it out. But it's there. And the thing is, once you, just like salmon, the last card, once you turn your nose toward the direction your heart is asking you to, the universe steps in. The universe wants you to succeed. And the universe will do everything in its power to support you. Once you open that door, that's when synchronicities happen. People show up out of the blue. Situations happen that you couldn't have imagined a couple of days ago. Miracles unfold. That's how it works. And so whatever that is, don't diminish the importance of whatever that little spark is within you. And chances are with you, that spark is helping others or educating others and moving in that direction, baby steps, right? You're not expected to embrace the whole thing all at once, but the more every step you take toward it, the more solid ground you're standing on. And the universe will make sure that you are supported in answering that calling. Not that there won't be times, like I was saying earlier, like we're constantly given that choice. Do I move according to my heart or do I move according to society, right? We're given those choices all the time, again, to strengthen that muscle of answering that voice within us. It's not to diminish us, it's not to make that more flimsy, it's more to make it more steadfast that yes, this is the feeling I want. This is the feeling I'm going toward. This is my destiny. Right? So listen to your heart and do whatever you can to move toward what brings you joy. That's not a distraction. That is the direction you're meant to go. The universe or the society will say, oh, you can't do that. You need to do this. You need to toil and you need to earn your way. And it's got to be blood and sweat and tears. Like, screw that. There still might be blood and sweat and tears, but it's going to be coming from a place of enthusiasm and joy and fulfilling your purpose. There is no one on the planet that did not come here without a purpose. And each of us, like the purpose it's like the tapestry. Every thread has its own color, its own tension. And by putting them together, this unimagined display of art, beauty, image, whatever, comes forth from that weaving of these individual threads of purpose. No one's purpose is more important than anyone else's purpose. If you are here, you have purpose. And you are here for a reason. You are important. The universe needs you. The world needs you. And so trust that when you feel that joy, when you feel that draw in that direction toward joy, toward fulfillment, trust that that is Creator speaking to you. That is the universe speaking to you, going, yes, keep going. Okay? I hope that's helpful. I know you're probably going to have to watch. I don't think you're on here still, but I hope you're able to watch the repeat of this. All right, card number 5 for Renee. And again, I just crossed my threshold. I always set aside an hour and a half, but every week it seems to get closer and closer to 2 hours. So if you're still with me, thank you for your perseverance, your dedication. I have room for one more card if anyone's come on later. Otherwise, we'll just do 5 cards tonight. 6, including the community card at the end. So this is card number 5 for Renee. Again, reverse card. This is so interesting. All right. So card number 5 for Renee is Dragonfly in reverse. Story time. What's that? 3 different stories at least that I've told tonight. So Dragonfly. Once upon a time, there was this great and mighty dragon who was all powerful and magical. And like most dragons, he was very arrogant and loved to brag about his prowess and his deeds. And Coyote was getting tired of listening to this boasting. And so he thought somebody needs to take him down a notch. And knowing of no one more equipped than he to do so, Coyote approached this great and mighty dragon and goes up to him and says, I bet you're not powerful enough to make yourself that big. And the dragon laughed in his face and turned himself into a dragonfly. The thing is, when he did that, he got caught in his own illusion. He still had all his power, all his might, all his magic. But he started to believe that he was just a small, fragile little creature. And so, in reverse, Dragonfly is asking you to remember. It's like you're getting caught into the illusion of this world. This world is just a dream. This world, everything is energy, everything is frequency. The only reason this world is real is because of the frequency we are at, right? But we live, like I said earlier, that whole spirit having a human experience rather than a human having a spiritual experience. Who you are beneath and beyond this world is all-powerful, is divine, is eternal. And so in reverse, it's kind of like getting caught in thinking that this outside world is real and is the source and is the deciding factor on what you can do and who you can become. When the outside world is like breath on a window. It's the result of your being. It's a reflection of your being. And there is nothing in the outside world that isn't malleable, that isn't changeable. Miracles are a natural process when nature is left untethered. Miracles, magic, is what naturally occurs when we let go and let nature unfold. And so it's like with that, those eyes with the multi-hex lenses, etc., Dragonfly can see in every direction possible, right? I actually had an experience recently. It was actually on the 4th of July. I went down to the river to do ceremony, as I often do. And with everything going on in the government and society and the world, etc., I was feeling a little low. And this dragonfly came along. As soon as I started my ceremony, this beautiful blue dragonfly with black-tipped wings came flying in and landed on a log maybe 10 feet in front of me, like landed facing me, looking at me. And so I stopped and I tuned into the dragonfly, say, "Hi, what are you doing here? Do you have a oh, that's so cool. You've had dragonflies flying around you for several weeks. Oh, that's so cool. There you go." And so this dragonfly, I asked, like, "Do you have a message for me? What are you doing here?" And he said, he basically pointed out his eyes, right, saying he could see literally in every direction at once. There was nothing hidden from him. And he said to me, "You have the same ability. Why do you pretend that just this one tiny little perspective is all of reality? You know better. You can see everything else. So why are you insisting that this one little particle in this one little corner of your vision is all of reality, is true, is all there is, and affects everything else, when you can see the truth? You can see the bigger picture. You can see how this tiny little thing is not the whole picture, number one. Does not cancel out the whole big picture. And there is so much more going on. You know, it's like not only are you a spirit having a human experience, you're a dragon having a dragonfly experience. Dragon, that's the perfect analogy. You're still dragon. You're still spirit. You still have all the magic and all the power of the universe behind you. But sometimes we get caught in that believing we're just human. We're this fragile little body at the whim of circumstance and fate, etc., right? But when you can, and like the thing, we don't use that phrase, that spirit having a human experience, to deny the humanness, right? It's not one or the other. We utilize that human experience to channel through the spirit. Because if we showed up in our full dragonness, right? Some people would run for the hills, other people would kneel and worship, right? And so we come here in human form, in dragonfly form, so that we have an acceptable image with which to approach people to be the channel through which the higher spiritual things can come through, whether that's teachings or healings, or readings. It's the hollow bone of shamanism. And so, and the thing to remember, one thing that has been coming out for me a lot lately is the realization that there is no separation, right? The human is the spirit. The dragonfly is the dragon. They're not two separate beings. We tend to talk about our higher self or deity or creator as something outside of ourselves, even though the whole, this whole spiritual movement is about finding that divine within you, because that's where it already is, right? But we still think about my higher self, or that we're being tested, that the universe is testing us, or hitting us with the spiritual 2x4 upside the head to get us, knock some sense into us. It's like, no, there's no separation. That higher self is who you are. And so if you can trust yourself, if you can trust your higher self, the bigger version of yourself, right, like the vision of Dragonfly, then you know that this visage of humanity is just an illusion. It's limited, it's temporary, and it's not all of who you are. But it can trust that bigger part. It's the bigger part that gives context to our humanness, right? And so allow the dragon to speak, allow the dragon to roar. But through the voice of a human, right? That's our job. I mean, as light workers, as healers, as shamans and holy people and medicine people, it's to anchor that light, right, in physical reality. Our humanness is what anchors that light, grounds it, and opens that the hollow bone, allowing that light to move through us into this world, whether through our voice, through our hands, through our vision, through our creation, whatever it is. So embrace your dragonness. When you journey or meditate, connect to that, true self, that higher self experience, just to remind yourself of how much more of yourself there is. It's easy to get tunnel vision, right? But there's so much more to you. And it's in and that, think about, that's where art and music and poetry, etc. comes from. That's the dragon trying to be expressed in physical terms through the dragonfly. That is the voice of the dragon. So we have these artists and these musicians that seem to be otherworldly with their talents, and these things come out of them that are just transcendent, right? That's the voice of spirit coming through the physical frame. Allow that to happen. That's what the world needs. Allow yourself to surrender to your greatness, if that makes sense. So, I hope that is helpful. And I guess that is going to be we're just going to do 5 cards tonight. So I hope that was helpful, Renee. But I'm still going to pull one more card for the community. So while I am shuffling, I'm just going to remind you a couple of things. That my only request for watching this video is if you would please share the video. Share it on your social media. Email it to someone if there's something you think someone would get a good... If you heard something that reminded you of someone else, share it with them. Maybe that's a sign that... you're so welcome, Renee. That might be a sign. If something reminds you of someone else, that might be a sign that they need to hear that. Kind of like when I dream about someone, I try to connect with them within like 24, 48 hours. Because there's usually a reason. So, but also, if you enjoy my work, if you enjoy these videos, and want to support your friendly neighborhood shaman, I have my Venmo and PayPal links in the description under the video. Anything you give me goes straight to me, supports me on my spiritual path, so that I have more to offer you. The more I grow, the more I have to offer you to explore your paths. And so, and I am beyond grateful for anything that people donate. This is offered as a free gift from my heart. But if people wish to reciprocate that energy, I am more than grateful to receive that gift. So thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this, consider signing up for a whole reading for yourself. Like when I normally do a card reading, it's like 5 cards. It's like a medicine wheel spread, so that not only do you get the card and what the card means, like in these 1 card readings, but you get the position of the card in the spread actually has meaning. And so it's able to pinpoint more specifics and such of what's going on in your life, what needs attention, or whatever that is. So if that's appealing to you, you can visit my website at perchingwolfstudios.net. You can learn more about me. You can see the different shamanic services I offer, and you can sign up for a session right there on my website. I do readings and teachings and healings. Oh my! So I do the card readings. I do shamanic healing. I'm a Reiki master as well. I do soul retrievals and such. Really powerful healing. And I also do classes. I've got a couple of classes I'm working on right now, putting out there. But I also do one-on-one mentoring work. So if you are looking for a teacher, if you're having a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, feeling like you've had an awakening of some sort, but you're not sure what to do with it, and if you resonate with me, think I might be a good fit, reach out. I would be honored to be your teacher, to help you find... My job as a teacher is not to reinforce, like rubber stamping you as a clone of myself, but helping you through my own experience, helping you to find the telltale signs of what you are meant to do in this life, to find your own heart path, right? What else? If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my videos. I guess that helps the algorithm, helps more people find me. And that's part of why I moved to YouTube, was to kind of expand my influence, expand my voice, help more people. So help me help others. And I think that is it. for right now. Oh, and if you didn't know, I do 2 different videos every week. This one on Monday nights, and then Wednesday nights, I am a sacred pipe carrier. And I do, every Wednesday night, I do a sacred pipe ceremony on a YouTube live video where I do that ceremony, basically holding space for people to come and for an hour or so to take the world off their shoulders, to be able to open their hearts to receive the blessings coming to them, inspiration, etc. And it's a beautiful ceremony. It's one of the most powerful ceremonies I know of. And so if any of that piques your curiosity, please join me at Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock Pacific time right here on my YouTube channel. I would love to have you, the more the merrier. Non-denominational, no dogma allowed. So, okay, one more card. This is our community totem for the week, who is accompanying us on our individual and collective journeys. Ha ha! And that makes all of it make sense. So our community totem for the week is Black Panther, whose medicine is about embracing the unknown. And every card that came up tonight, 5 out of 5 cards were reversed. And so every card had that unknown, like, where do I go from here? What's on the other side of this darkness? The darkness being the womb, not being evil. And so here comes Black Panther to give you the strength and the courage and the confidence to move forward into that unknown, knowing that there is nothing that you need to fear. There is nothing you can fear that is more powerful than you. And when you know that, you can approach everything with a sense of adventure rather than worry and dread. It's kind of taking the wheel of your own ship and setting your bearings and setting sail and trusting that the universe is going to take you exactly where you need to go, bring you exactly the adventures you need to grow, to become who you need to be, to realize your different dreams and desires and passions. So embrace the unknown, don't run from it. Like I did a long time ago, I was in a meditation class. I've told this before, but we did this guided meditation, and the teacher had us each get on the back of a sea turtle. And the sea turtle took us out into this bay, out on the water. We're seeing all these marvelous things. And finally, she's like, okay, it's time for the sea turtle to bring you back to land. So everyone else's turtle turned back toward land. Mine dove. And I'm kind of freaking out. I know it was just a meditation, but at the same time, it was kind of freaky because all of a sudden I was surrounded by this darkness and this black, and the water getting darker and colder as my sea turtle dove further and further and further. And I'm freaking out. And all of a sudden this voice came to me from Goddess and was like, what do you think could be here that isn't me? There is nothing in the darkness that is not divine in nature. There is nothing in the darkness that isn't you. All the cards that came up tonight, all those reverse cards, was a part of you calling to you because it's a part of you and is not being recognized. That's where the reverse comes in. It's getting you to embrace those parts to know that there's more to you than what presently is apparent, and to reach into that darkness, knowing that there is something better on the other side. So, all right, my friends, I think that is it for me. My brain is starting to get kind of wibbly. I think I need to go get something to eat and drink. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your presence. And I hope you will join me again next week. Please invite your friends. Please, again, share the video. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right, bye.